Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. It's a city of about 600,000 people and it is surrounded by beautiful gardens and forests. Welcome everyone. Hi Amanville. Hi Kiranization. Nino. Good to see many students already in the class. In this lesson, we are looking at speaking part 3, talking about giving the best answers for speaking part 3 for that band 9 score. This lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Visit us there for the general IELTS. Check us out at gieltshelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of our websites, we have lots and lots of information to help you improve, get those higher band scores, get better at your communication. While we wait for a few more members, our academic IELTS website looks like this with the blue background. You can click this big red button to join our premium IELTS package for a one-time low payment for lifetime access. We are a British Council IELTS Test Registration Center and certified agents. General IELTS looks like this, green background. Click that big red button. Once you do that, you have a My Student account. In your My Student account, you have practice exams, lesson videos, interactive course, and you have student partner speaking and speaking interview practice options. Okay, so lots there for you. Hi, Janelle. Hi, Paulo. Welcome back, members as well. Amr Bey, nice to see you in the class. Good to see everyone. Our apps, Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help. These apps will link to your web accounts for some really awesome learning. So get those apps from your Play Store. If you have questions, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. I will happily answer your questions. Welcome, Dildora. Jasur, I hope your IELTS exam went awesome today. All right. So everyone, we'll have a short break tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, and then we have a full schedule of live classes next week from the 3rd to the 6th. Lots and lots of classes, 7 live classes there. You can get that schedule from our YouTube channel and from our Instagram. I will post that a little bit later today. Abror Beck, Aziz Beck, if you have a question, just ask it so that I can see it right away in the chat. And then if I catch it, I'll be able to respond. Okay. Tarek, good to have you in the class. Okay, everybody. So we just did speaking part 2. And speaking part 2, we talked about a skipping rope, an object that we own that needs training to use. So part 2, speaking, was about a skipping rope, an object that I own and needs training to use. Yes, indeed. People have fallen trying to skip rope without any kind of instructions. I know I have. Okay. All right. So this is a speaking class, everyone. Make sure to speak and repeat. Okay, so speak, repeat. Very, very important for practice. So it's good that you're typing. It's good that you're chatting. It's good that you're listening. But also make sure to speak and repeat nice and loud. Move the mouth. Okay, move the face. Okay. All right. Ritesh, reading, writing, listening, completely other topics. If you have questions, send me an email. Check out the websites. Okay. All right. So you're in the speaking section. So the examiner is going to say, okay, it's the end of part 2. Now we will continue with part 3. For part 3, I will ask you a couple of questions related to your part 2 response and some questions on this topic. And then they'll ask you a question about what you said in part 2. So Paulo says, I'm stretching my face right now. Paulo, that is good. Get that face moving. We've got so many muscles in our face. All right, so you talked about a skipping rope or a jump rope. If you were here 30 minutes ago for this class, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're the examiner, what kind of a question do you think the examiner might ask you? So what might they follow up with? Okay. Bro Beck, just keep practicing, keep copying my speaking, and you'll definitely pick up a lot of my style, pronunciation, and my diction. Hi, Thomas. Good to have you in our general English class. Okay. So what do you think? What could be a question? And I know a lot of our members that are watching, like Paulo right now, you were in the class. So, okay, Ritesh, very good. Ritesh, they will always ask you a full question. Like, do you enjoy using your skipping rope? Sure. Yeah, that could definitely be one of the questions. Janelle says, have you ever broken your skipping rope? Yeah, sure. Why not? Janelle, it's possible. It's a present perfect question. Yeah, maybe you might ask that. Okay. Paulo says, what has changed in your health since you started jumping rope? I'm not sure, Paulo, if they would ask you that because we actually talked about that near the end, that my stamina has improved, my cardiovascular health. So they will probably try to ask you a question that you did not answer during your 2-minute part 2. Yeah, Azine says they might ask you something like, why do you think people like to use the skipping rope these days? Okay. Yeah, they might ask you that, Azine. That would be a good one, I think, these days. Because of the lockdown, you can use it at home if you have some space in your garage or in your living room. Okay, Fardius, have you ever lost it? Yeah, I think one question that I might ask if you gave me that part 2 response is, how often do you use your skipping rope? Okay, interestingly enough, we actually didn't answer this question in part 2. Okay, so examiners often go for those low-hanging fruit, the easy questions that you might not have answered, like how often. Okay, so yeah, those are all possible questions. Let's answer this one together. So how often do you use your skipping rope? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. How often do you use your skipping rope? Remember to include details, include quantitative language, numbers, okay? Numbers. Okay. Afef, you will definitely get the meaning of skipping rope because we just talked about it in part 2. Okay. So this is in connection to the part 2 answer. If you missed the last class, then yeah, you might not know what we're talking about, but okay. All right. Brobeck, as I said at the beginning of the class, I'm from Victoria, Canada, West Coast, Canada. Okay. So how often do you use your skipping rope? All right. There's my answer. All right. Let's see what you've come up with. So, Paulo, I'm curious because you're probably telling me the truth. You have a skipping rope. This was your choice. So, Paulo says, I usually use my jump rope 3 times a week at least, and I'd like to register that on Strava, my fitness app. I prefer to do it in the morning before starting my studies. It helps me to warm up for a day full of activities. Very nice, Paulo. I like it. Aman says, I usually use my skipping rope 2 to 3 times a day because it's beneficial for me to keep my body fit throughout the day. Okay, Aman, very good. Yeah, and some people do that. They do skip rope in the morning and at night. Okay. Tarek, that question, by the way, is very good. Have you ever injured yourself while you're practicing with your skipping rope? Okay. Aman says, how much time do you do your training? Yeah, those are good questions, Aman and Tarek. Very nice. Okay. All right. An says, I managed to use it at least 30 minutes a day, 6 to 7 times per week, usually at the end of my workout in the afternoon. That's very good. Okay. Harwinder says, I usually use my skipping rope twice a week for approximately 20 minutes to get a cardio workout and get pumped up. Hasna says, I use it often on the weekends and in the afternoons between 3 and 4 p.m. Hasna, it's either on the weekend or at the weekend. On the weekend is American English, at the weekend is British English, but we never say in the weekend. Okay. All right. Janil says, well, I usually use my skipping rope at least 4 to 5 times each week when I go to the park early morning for exercise. And I bring it with me. Last Saturday, I did skipping for 10 minutes at 6 a.m. Very nice quantitative language, Janil. I love it. Okay. Oh, it says, actually, I get much fun when I use the rope because I have 2 kids and we use it to play tug of war for further fitness. Ois, that's off topic. Don't do that. It's good English, but it's a bad answer because it's off topic. So don't do that. Okay. Here we go, everyone. So this is my answer. Just listen and repeat. Try not to read. Okay. Just listen and repeat. So how often do you use your skipping rope? I use my jump rope at least 3 to 4 times each week, usually in the evenings after work and before supper. I tried to jump or skip for at least 20 minutes each time and reach a count of 1,000 jumps. Ooh, 1,000 jumps. That's some fast skip rope. All right, so tip number 1, everyone, for today. Use quantitative language. Often in your answers. This will help with fluency and with lexical resource. And coherence. Okay? When you use numbers, you help the listener to understand the world around you. Okay, so when you tell them that you use it often, 3 to 4 times each week, 20 to 30 minutes each time, then you're helping the listener clearly understand what you're saying. Okay. All right. Supper isn't actually dinner. Dinner's usually a little bit earlier than supper. So dinner's in the afternoon. Supper is in the evening. Dinner's around 2, 3, 4 o'clock. Supper's usually around 6, 7 o'clock. Okay. Sanjana, you can absolutely use the word comfy. Okay. In speaking, you can use some colloquial terms like wanna, gonna, comfy. You will not lose marks for that, okay? So IELTS examiners, when they're marking you in part 3, they're looking for complex language. They're looking for natural language. And they're looking for coherent language. Okay. And the reason I drew these circles like this, some of you that studied these types of diagrams understand, is because these are connected to each other. Okay. So here's Sanjana is asking, like, can I use the word comfy? Yeah, comfy is natural language. Okay. Native speakers use it all the time. So you can definitely use comfy, and it's coherent. I understand what you're saying. If you say, I feel really comfy using the skip rope in my home rather than at the gym. Okay, you don't have to tell me comfortable. I like it. Okay. Coherent means that you're answering the question clearly. Okay. And complex means that you use a range of grammar and vocabulary accurately. Okay, that's what that means. So your IELTS band score, let's say, is in the middle here. That's where your band score comes from. It's a combination of this. Okay, so I'm sure many of you looked at the speaking section band descriptors on Google. You can get the PDF that shows you that you're marked on fluency and coherence, grammatical range and accuracy, pronunciation, lexical resource, and that's fine, that's great. What the examiner is looking at furthermore is this overall level of complexity combined with natural language, combined with coherent language. That's your communication, okay? So you want to focus on that. There are unfortunately a lot of IELTS trainers out there who don't have a clear idea of what they're saying. They think that the only way to get a band 9 in the speaking is if you're using some very technical words without any colloquial language, and you're using some templates like "thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today." IELTS examiners actually don't like that. Okay. Not for the high band scores. For the high band scores, you have to be original in your speaking. You have to be you. All right. Okay. Yeah, Paulo, definitely good advice there. So if you want to speak, join the Discord group, especially if you're a channel member. Okay, so now the examiner will introduce the topic of part 3 that's connected to part 2. And they might say something like, let's talk about instruments. Instruments are tools, right? Basically, that we learn to use. Okay. So you have to recognize that these are indeed tools that we're using. And they might ask you quite general type of question to start with. So they could ask you a question like, what are different types of instruments people use for work or entertainment? Keep it simple. Okay, so what are some different types of instruments people use for work and entertainment? Think about an office, for instance. Think about the different kinds of tools that are used at the office by a lot of people to get their work done. Okay, and give me a nice full sentence answer. All right. Loneheart, good luck on your November 20th exam. Keep watching these live classes for lots of tips for the different sections of the IELTS, and also check out the websites for lots of help as well. Kisar, you can become a member of the channel by clicking the join button beside the subscribe button. If you don't see that, send me an email. Hey, Kevin, good to see you in the class. Long time no see. So Kevin says, equipment used for professional and recreational purposes are electronics like laptops, PS5, Xboxes, and mechanical manual tools like doctors' weight scales and musical instruments. Apparently, people are pivoting to more high-tech devices for superior performance and user experiences. Kevin, I like the start. So you have a good diversity of instruments. So you're talking about electronic instruments for office and for entertainment, like computers, gaming consoles, mechanical tools like doctor's instruments, stethoscope, right, for the doctor, musical instruments for both work and play by musicians. And for work and entertainment, so why? Okay, Kevin, you want to answer that why question a little bit better. So, in order to finish their projects or to play video games such as Call of Duty and entertain themselves, right? So, your why answer could be a little bit better, I think. Okay, hi, Eugene. Oh, it says there are dozens of tools which individuals use for job and for fun, such as musical instruments, laptops, and phones. I use my jumping rope for fun and fitness. Okay. All right. Very good. Nice, Ois. I like how you incorporated the connection to part two. I like your paraphrasing. You kept it simple, but you kept it very clear. Okay. So there are a great variety of tools that individuals use for both fun and on the job, such as electronic devices, including computers, mobile phones, and musical instruments. As well as mechanical tools like a hammer and a screwdriver. Millions of people use such objects daily to start and finish projects, as well as to relax and have excitement and laughs. I played on my PS5 gaming console for 2 hours yesterday to unwind from a busy work week. Okay? All right, now giving this type of answer, you want to be fluent, okay? You can't get stuck halfway because then the examiner will interrupt you. So oftentimes I hear students complaining, oh, the examiner is interrupting me. Is that costing me marks? Yes. Okay, so the examiner kept interrupting my answers. Is this a problem? Yes, it is. Okay. Yes, this means you are either not being fluent enough or you are going off topic or both. Okay, so that's why that's happening. So in that case, you have to build your fluency and you have to make sure that you're staying on topic. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Notice the plural. Again, repeat after me. If you have some good English, try not to read. Try to do it just from auditory repetition, so listening and repeating. Here we go. What are different types of instruments people use for work or entertainment? There are a great variety of tools that individuals use for both fun and on the job, such as electronic devices, including computers, mobile phones, and musical instruments, as well as mechanical tools like a hammer and screwdriver. Millions of people use such objects daily to start and finish projects, as well as to relax and have excitement and laughs. I played on my PS5 gaming console for 2 hours yesterday to unwind from a busy work week. Okay. And some people think, oh, well, it's part 3, so you shouldn't give a personal example like this. That's not true. When I did my IELTS exam, I gave lots of personal examples. I scored a band 9 in the speaking. All I did was just give a smooth example that's very relatable to my response. Okay, it's strongly connected. Okay. So Janelle says, yeah, I faced this as well. Yeah, Janelle, it's either fluency or coherence of the answer. Okay, so either fluency or coherence. So be really careful. Next question. Which of these are the most difficult to use and why? So here, of course, the question is which of these instruments or which of these tools are the most difficult to use and why? So in part 3, the examiner is always following up on the question. So they're getting more detail. They're eliciting more information from you, more lexical resource. Okay. Paulo, don't get frozen on general questions. Just, Paulo, think about it like as if you're talking to a 6 or 7-year-old child, and you just have to be very clear. They don't know the world around you. They don't have life experience yet. And you just really clearly want to explain to them how the world works. Okay, so imagine I'm your 6-year-old little boy, and I go, Paulo, what are some things people use? Kids like using the word things, and IELTS don't use the word things. And they'll say, what are some things people use at their job? And then you can say, well, son, there are lots of different tools people use at their work to get their job done, including computers, pencil, paper, printers. Okay, so you'll get into it if you think about it in that way, right? OS answers. The big challenge for me is using mechanical instruments because they need a lot of focus and a long time learning. Some people spend more than 10 years to play the piano. Okay, very good. Yeah, musical instruments can be quite complex. Okay. Duke Manuan says, my teacher always tells me to use academic words. Is it really necessary? No. I'll give you advice on that, okay, while everybody thinks about their answer here. So, yeah, there's a lot of kind of misinformation about IELTS in the world. So, here's a question. Do I need to use lots of academic words to get a good score in the speaking? The answer is no. No. Rather means instead. You need to use a variety of words. Having stated this, you need a broad range of vocabulary, which then most likely will also include some more advanced and precise vocabulary. Okay. Academic words is actually a kind of a myth in some sense. We use this term, and in our company we use this term academic words as well, but there is really no such concept as academic words. It's kind of a made-up idea. You have medical words, you have words for engineering, you have words for computer science, and these are what's called technical terms. Okay. Now, using technical terms, you have to be careful because even the examiner might not know them if you specialize in medicine or if you specialize in architecture. It's okay to use technical words, just don't overdo it. What you want to use is you want to use a variety of words, okay? So the key to getting that high band score is using lots of different words, lots of paraphrasing. And you can use a lot of different everyday words, okay? So just keep that in mind. When I did my IELTS exam and I scored band 9 in my speaking, I didn't use any crazy fancy words, at least not lots of them throughout the speaking. I just spoke with confidence using a variety of common English language, okay? All right. So back to this question. Okay, those are some good questions, and I love answering these questions, especially since many people have these kinds of questions. A lot of students think, oh, I need to use academic words. Academic words don't really exist. Okay, there's really no such thing. There's technical words that are specific to a field, but not academic words, right? Mi Yan, don't use the word the thing. Okay, don't use the word things. Okay, that's what I mean by finding better words. So which of these is the most difficult? Well, I suppose the answer to that question really depends on the level of proficiency in using a specific tool. What I mean by this is that a person can invest a lot of time learning to use a computer, a piano, or a hammer. I am quite good at using the computer myself because I have to for my daily work. But even though I've spent several hours hammering, I wouldn't say that I have nearly the skills of a carpenter. So it really does depend on perspective. Now, one advice that I always give to students is be really careful with the "it depends" answer. Okay? You should not use that more than once in your entire speaking. Using it once is okay, especially if it makes sense, right? Like in this question. So how challenging a tool can be to learn and use really depends on how well you want to learn to use it. Okay, some people can throw a hammer and they can throw it accurately into a bullseye from like 30 feet. I would not try that, okay? But in this question, it makes sense. However, you should not overuse "it depends," okay? Only use this once. When there's a speaking interview where I'm interviewing a candidate and the candidate answers "it depends, it depends, it depends, it depends" for every question, I'm just like, no, it doesn't always just depend. No, I don't do that. The examiner will never show their true feeling. They're there to be professional. But certainly if you keep answering it depends" for every question, they will say that your speech is repetitive, it's unclear, it starts to become incoherent in communication, okay? So be really careful about that and only use it when it actually applies to the question. So repeat after me. Which of these are the most difficult to use and why? Well, I suppose the answer to that question really depends on the level of proficiency in using a specific tool. What I mean by this is that a person can invest a lot of time learning to use a computer, a piano, or a hammer. I'm quite good at using the computer myself because I have to for my daily work. But even though I've spent several hours hammering, I wouldn't say I have nearly the skills of a carpenter. So it really does depend on perspective. Okay, that makes sense in this case. Okay. All right, so let's go to the next question. And notice that the examiner kind of has an idea of what's going on here as well. Take a look at this next question. So, if people spend much time to play a musical instrument, will they become very good musicians? Or will they become a very good musician? Okay, so notice that this is a conditional. It's an if question. If people spend much time to play a musical instrument, will they become a good musician or a very good musician? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Okay, and I know that many of you already were saying musical instruments can be very difficult to use. So now you can make a connection. All right. Ois says, in my opinion, the long period for training for musical instruments is necessary, but it's not enough because the most important factor to play well is talent. Yeah, you don't need musical field. It's just repetitive. Ois is musical field. Okay. All right. Un says, no, I don't think so. Not all people who have been playing musical instruments for years are good artists. Like me, I've been playing piano for over 8 years, and I'm not in any sense a good musician. I think the innate aptitude for these instruments and music in general has a lot to do with becoming a great artist. Yeah, an artist is okay. I would say performer would be a good paraphrase as well. So a great performer. Kevin, great start. So Kevin says, I doubt that. Of course, practicing day and night would hone their skills in playing a musical instrument, but becoming an expert musician is elusive even to those most diligent because they might not be endowed with musical prowess, which is sometimes key to success in the musical scene or in the music scene. Very nice answer, Kevin. Beautiful use of vocabulary. Now, here's a great example, students, where Kevin isn't necessarily using academic words, but he's using advanced natural English vocabulary. So Kevin starts with a natural expression. I doubt that. Okay, if you're looking at the Academic English Help YouTube channel, you'll see this now in the chat. So Kevin Bowie says, I doubt that. Of course, practicing day and night. Practicing day and night is again a nice expression. Would hone their skills. Hone means to refine, to make more precise. Hone is not academic vocabulary. Hone is everyday vocabulary. H-O-N-E. Okay. Becoming expert musicians is elusive. Elusive, again, elusive means difficult to achieve or catch. Okay, difficult to find. So, for example, some animals are very elusive, like a cat or an owl, because they're very silent when they move. They're elusive. Elusive, again, is not academic vocabulary. It's just nice advanced vocabulary for natural language. Okay. And then Kevin continues with... they might not be endowed with musical prowess. Endow means to be gifted, like to be gifted by God or to be gifted by nature. Endowed, okay? Given the ability. And musical prowess, prowess means skill and aptitude. So lots of good vocabulary by Kevin, definitely a band 9 response level, okay? But not necessarily what we would call academic vocabulary. Just very good paraphrasing and use of specific vocabulary. Okay, so take a look at that answer. By the way, students, when you hear me say that a student has a really good Band 9 answer, take a screenshot with your computer, copy it out, okay? Practice it, learn those words, all right? Okay, Paulo says, some great guitar players practice for about, okay, sorry, Paulo, I see that it begins before. So Paulo says, I think that people can become really good at playing musical instruments if they use their practice time wisely in a focused and productive way. Some great guitar players practice for about 10 hours a day, but they're very disciplined and focused. If someone plays an instrument with no purpose or method, it's going to lead them to nowhere. Okay, Paulo, I get your answer. It's a little bit indirect, but I get it. Okay. July says, certainly yes. If playing musical instruments takes most of their time, practice makes perfect. When we do something for a long time, our brain will get used to it and we can play without thinking. All right, sure. So, I don't think so. I do believe that practice pays off and that just about any person with enough dedication and desire can become a good musical artist over the course of many years. However, to become a very good musician, one that is publicly recognized by the masses, like, say, Elton John, I think that a lot of innate talent is also required in combination with perseverance. Okay. All right. So here is my answer. Again, the more you pay attention to the questions, the better your answer can be. So here we're not just talking about becoming a good musician, but we're talking about becoming a very good musician. It's important to pay attention to these qualifying words like very. Okay. So one more time, if people spend much time to play a musical instrument, will they become a very good musician? I don't think so. I do believe that practice pays off and that just about any person with enough dedication and desire can become a good musician or good musical artist over the course of many years. However, to become a very good musician, one that is publicly recognized by the masses, like, say, Elton John, I think that a lot of innate talent is also required in combination with perseverance. Okay, so this is a decent answer. It's got it's got an explanation, it's even got an example, like Elton John, kind of put into the answer. So instead of making it separate, it's comma, like Elton John, so briefly mentioning it. However, I'm missing one important concept in my answer. What is that? So there's one important concept that the examiner is looking for, and it's missing in my answer. What's missing? Okay. Domin says you're frozen. Okay, let me just quickly fix that. No worries. Okay, I will. I don't know why it does that, but I'm switching up my setup here for next week anyway, so worry not. We'll have a new type of input method here coming up. So even just from listening to my answer without reading it, there's something that's missing from my answer. What is that the examiner is looking for? Can anybody tell me? And you're going to see it in the written form here very quickly. Okay. All right. So what's missing from this answer? Yeah, I'm back for sure. Don't worry. Lots of instruments here as well. Yeah, Thao says, please check your screen. Paulo says, I don't know what's missing. Janelle says, it's a visual example. I think the example's there. Okay. All right. Always pay attention to the grammar that the examiner is fishing for. Okay. So here you have the conditional if people spend much time. All right. Yeah, exactly, Ois. The condition is missing. Okay. So you really want to reflect the grammar of the question. Okay. So if people spend much time to play a musical instrument, so I always want to make sure that I have that in there. Okay, and I want to put that in there. So okay. So some way you have to put in that condition, if or given that or provided that. Okay. All right. So I don't think so. Okay. And I see that the screen's frozen again. I'm not sure why it's doing that. It's very bizarre that after a certain amount of time it would do that. Okay. Let's see if I can do a quicker fix right now. But anyway, we're coming to the end of the class, so it's not the end of the world. I'm just giving you this last little tip here. Okay. And then we'll be finishing up here shortly anyway. There we go. So something between the camera and OBS. It's something new, maybe since I've upgraded the OBS system. Okay, so here we go. You can now see that magically appear, the condition. So I don't think so. Given much practice, I don't think it's enough to be outstanding in playing a musical instrument. I do believe that practice pays off and that just about any person with enough dedication and desire can become a good musical artist over the course of many years. However, to become a very good musician, one that is publicly recognized by the masses, like, say, Elton John, I think that a lot of innate talent is also required in combination with perseverance. Okay. All right. Ois, probably in northern British Columbia it's cold, but in Victoria there is no snow or ice. Okay. So no need to worry there. All right. Okay. So that's how you do it. And that is how you come up with good high-level, high-band answers. Here are some more questions for you to practice on your own. So let's talk about specialized training. And in part 3, if you're doing a good job and you're answering fluently, the examiner will have a chance to ask you at least 4 or 5 questions with follow-ups. Okay? All right. So for lots more practice with the IELTS, with the speaking, definitely check us out at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS, where you can get HD videos that don't freeze. Okay, and again, all you have to do is you just have to click on these red buttons on the homepage to join the premium package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend, everybody. I hope that you all stay in good health, you stay productive, you practice maybe some of your tools and instruments that you have at home, even the fun ones like a PS5 if you have it. Thank you for the happy Halloween. Yeah, I'm looking forward to going trick-or-treating with my daughter this Halloween. She's a little bit bigger now, so it's going to be lots of fun. Much love to all of you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. I'm Adrian, signing out from Victoria, beautiful West Coast Canada. Bye for now.